I wonder if you sometimes feel really weak, kind of powerless in the face of circumstances that you find yourself in, or perhaps during this coronavirus pandemic, you've really been struck by how vulnerable we all are to something that we can't even see, an invisible enemy that has just been wreaking havoc with our communities. You know, we all feel weak from time to time. As a hobby, I train at Taekwondo, but I've noticed very significantly since having had the coronavirus, or at least I suspect I had the coronavirus, I've never really recovered. And as a result of that, I've had to pull out of a whole series of training sessions online because my fitness just wasn't up to scratch. I had to do the same thing last night. I was training really, really hard and probably only made it through about half of my training session. You know, it's so frustrating when you realize how weak you are at times, that there are things you just can't control. You can't control how long you can stay strong and healthy and fit before the next thing comes and knocks your immune system and takes you down. And, you know, I'm luckier than most. I'm incredibly grateful for the fact that having been through this pandemic, I've come out the other side and I'm still relatively well. There are many who have not been as fortunate as me. And so it's a reminder again of our weakness. And, you know, in times like these, I hope that we can embrace our weakness rather than trying to push it away, because the reality is weakness will always be with us. We will always have some level of susceptibility to things that are stronger than us or undefeatable by us, and we need help. We need to help one another. We need the incredible expertise of doctors and nurses and people with greater knowledge than we do. We need help to have our groceries delivered to us for the first time in a while. We realize many of us are as vulnerable, I suppose, as people who've been locked in for ages. We need help and we need one another. But more than all of that, we also need God. Because there are things in this life that we have no control over, and one of those things is the scourge of death. And we need to look to God and ask for strength in the face of an opponent that is far stronger than us. You know, Isaiah spoke in chapter 28 of his book. He spoke very directly about the scourge that was coming. He said it would be overwhelming. He said it would beat them down. He said that it will carry them away. He said that it will sweep through. There's this image of almost a flood, like a flash flood, which was common in Israel, just suddenly appearing and taking people's lives away. And he said that the understanding of this message will bring sheer terror. Well, I'm not surprised. It's terrifying to realize how weak we are in the face of some of the things that come against us in this life. And there's nothing we can do to prevent them. Do you know, some people talk about Christianity and they mention it in the context of it being like a crutch. And they say that it's a sign of weakness. Well, my challenge would be that we're all weak. Whether we choose to admit it or not is the question. And every one of us needs help and support. And why would you not lean on a crutch if you were injured? Why would you not want to allow your injured limb time to heal? Why would you not depend on the strength of perhaps stainless steel or whatever it is that they're made out of, when your own strength is insufficient? And the same thing is true with faith. Our faith is so important to us because our strength is insufficient to face so many of the challenges that we face in this life. Yes, we can be strong. Yes, we can learn to be courageous, but there are things that are just beyond our control, things that are beyond our power. And in those moments, surrendering to the reality of our weakness and acknowledging that we need the strength of God is the only wise thing to do. Isaiah contrasted this image of the scourge that beats people down, that carries people away, that sweeps through, with a stone in Zion, a tested stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. It's a very obvious contrast, the idea of flash floods breaking against rocks, the idea of something overwhelming coming against a sure foundation that will not be moved and will not be overwhelmed. And it's a picture of our lives. It's a picture of our lives right now during coronavirus, but it's also a picture of our lives every day. It's a picture of the fact that God is our sure foundation and we need Him. We need to rely on Him. We need to find a place of refuge in Him. So when the storms of life come against you, I want to just challenge you to accept the fact that, like everybody else, there are times when you are weak. There are things that you can't beat by yourself. And that's okay. That's just a part of being human in a world where there are forces that are bigger than us. But that doesn't mean that we are powerless. It doesn't mean that we are alone in the face of these struggles. Because there is one who is more powerful. There is one who is a sure foundation. And those who lean on him will not be swept away or beaten down or overwhelmed, because he will be their strength. Like a crutch that holds us up when we are weak, he is strong. Like a foundation that holds a building steady when the storms come against it, he is strong. We are weak and he is strong. This morning I just want to challenge you to rely on him, to rest in knowing that his strength is greater than the things that can overwhelm our weaknesses. And if you can trust in him, you might find that your weaknesses don't frighten you as much as they once did. You might find that you're capable of more because you are not crippled by fear anymore. You might find that you turn some of your weaknesses into strength, because actually it can be a great strength to accept where we are weak and find help. Let's look to Jesus in our time of need. Let's look to the one who is a strong and sure foundation, a stone that will not be moved. And as you do that, may God bless you with all the strength you need for today.